There was a time, maybe like 100 videos ago, when I thought I sort of believed that morality was objective and existed as an intellectual object, similar to the way an apple exists or a bicycle. I mean, effectively, a priori. Before, during, and after human experience, it has its own existence. As I began to explain it, I realized that what was objective is really the physical reality inherent in the claims, and the options that are being explored are determined by a reality that humans don't completely control. So morality essentially encompasses an inherent determinism and a form that tends towards physical reality as the objective part of morality. It's not necessarily an object or existent totally a priori before human experience, but that being said, the other side would reduce it to relativism and say there's no fact or truth value to moral claims. Don't fall victim to this nonsense. Oftentimes, it's just people who want to justify what they know are nefarious ends, trying to disassociate you from the part of the moral claims that are objective and aimed at reality. I can't prove to you that killing is wrong. I can't prove to you that killing is right. You just have to have the good empathetic sense that the aversion to pain is a good idea. This is pretty good evidence, actually, that evolution deterministically wants us not to do certain things, which then extends to basic empathy. If certain things cause me suffering, for most agents, we aren't going to wish that on someone else. Empathy is very likely to emerge because of the way we evolved, but psychopathy and the mind that is subject to nurture subordinates it and annihilates it. While ethical propositions might not have proofs the way science has proofs, it has consequence. Consequence is not relative. Therefore, when I say killing is wrong, it's a statement referring to the consequence of unnecessary loss of life. Therefore, just because I don't have some kind of scientific measuring tool to capture the qualitative aspects of human existence doesn't mean an action isn't clearly destructive by consequence. It doesn't mean everything is permitted the way some want so bad to justify doing whatever they want. We know more life in most cases is better. We know that suffering for others is the same as our own suffering. We know that this multiplied by thousands would simply be our own suffering multiplied by thousands. I don't have a scientific measurement to prove this fact to you. I do believe it absurd for you not to get behind the basic notion that requires only common sense to affirm. Let's talk about noncognitivism. Noncognitivism is a metaethical theory that argues moral statements do not express propositions that can be true or false. Instead, moral language functions to express emotions, prescriptions, or attitudes rather than factual claims. Key features of noncognitivism. Moral statements lack truth value. Unlike cognitivists who believe moral claims are objectively true or false, non-cognitivists argue that statements like stealing is wrong do not describe facts but express attitudes. Expressivism. Moral language conveys emotions or prescriptions rather than factual information. Stealing is wrong expresses disapproval rather than stating a fact. Opposition to moral realism. Non-cognitivists reject the idea that moral facts exist independently of human beliefs and attitudes. Types of non-cognitivism. Emotivism. Moral statements express emotions. Prescriptivism. Moral statements function as imperatives or prescriptions. Quasi-realism. Attempts to explain how moral discourse can resemble truth claims while remaining non-cognitive. Technically speaking, I think the truth lies somewhere between the extremes. Yes, moral judgments express attitudes, but those attitudes don't come from nothing. In fact, the majority of what they are is referring back to a reality that is much larger and far more determined than the individual agent. I can't just say unicorns are real, I can fly, I know magic, and because of this, I can do no wrong, and that gives me the right to murder anybody I want anytime I want. You'll be looked at as a crazy person, because guess what? We do have intersubjectivity. That intersubjectivity looks to cause and effect, and its consequence to sift through the nonsense according to what we see. Basic common sense. We know killing creates chaos. We know we can't just do whatever we want, even if we just look at it from a basic survival perspective. Acting in certain ways in a world filled with other agents that can kill us just makes basic sense. Instead of saying killing is wrong, we can just say more often than not, killing will lead you to your own death in one way or another. Then parents will teach their kids, if you want to live, don't kill. This basic prescription's not arbitrary. It's not just made up. It's not just feelings between individual agents. It's a determined emergence that comes from our physical reality. Our reality both as our external physical environment and human evolution that is driving forward with some kind of mechanism of determinism. So some part of the don't kill prescription emerges out of this deterministic evolutionary formation. If you guys like this kind of philosophical subject matter, help us out by liking the video and subscribing to the channel.